Hello and welcome. Aquarister here, back with another video, and today we are looking at another build video. Now this is going to be another healer build, and specifically with the Great Axe. I've had a couple of you asking as far as how my Warhammer and Greatsword build would work with a Great Axe and Life Staff, so I figured we'd just make a video on it. I have run this build in the past and liked it quite a bit, so I figured I'd revisit it for Season 2 and put out a video for all of you. Before we fully hop into today's video, I do just want to say if this video helps you out or if you'd like to see more content from me, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out and you'll get notified on future videos. So let's take a look at the Great Axe build. Alright, so to get it started today, we are going to start looking at the armor and jewelry for what I'm wearing. Now, if you've seen some of my previous healer videos, especially the Season 2 healer videos, you might notice that my armor is the same. I don't really change much with my armor and jewelry. It's kind of up to you as far as if you want to add a few extra, weapon perks or anything like that, depending on how you like running your build. So this is how I like to run it. Definitely there are some tweaks and changes that you can make to make it better fit for yourself. So we'll just go through it really quickly, but it is my normal fit. So I do have 2 sets of freedom, which I am trying to get that higher, but obviously resilient, refreshing evasion, freedom stuff can be really expensive, but I do try to run as much refreshing evasion as possible, mainly because for PvP I'm dodging a lot more than I would be for PvE. For PvE I go full refreshing, for PvP I go refreshing evasion. That's just kind of how I like to play it. So definitely if you prefer refreshing for PvP, just swap out all of these refreshing evasions that I have with refreshing and you should be good to go. So pretty basic armor, nothing too crazy about it. Like I said, only 2 stacks of freedom, which I do intend to increase that since freedom is really nice as a healer, since you get CC'd quite a bit if people are pushing your backline. For jewelry, again, refreshing evasion, health divine. I really like health divine on most builds, especially ones that do involve me having to get as many heals coming in as possible to keep myself alive. For my ring, I am wearing Hardy Sacred Nature Damage. I've had this ring for a very long time. I love using it. I love having the extra nature damage. It does increase my power output quite a bit, along with the rune glass that I wear in my armor. For the earring, same deal, refreshing evasion, and then I like refreshing toast and purifying toast. Some people don't necessarily need to run purifying toast. I like it though because there are times where you're able to remove like a slow or something like that, and it can actually save your life. And then refreshing toast I think is just a pretty crucial perk to have on your earring at this point. So that's what we got for the armor and jewelry. Like I said, that is just the standard what I always wear. I'm using the Glowing Life Crystal Staff because I'm still running Divine Embrace, so anytime I have Divine Embrace I will use this Life Staff. And then for my Great Axe, this is a Great Axe that I've actually had for a bit now, and I like to run Crippling Reap, Plague Strikes, Vicious. The Vicious isn't necessary, it just kind of came with it, but the Crippling Reap and then the Plague Strikes are the 2 that I really like to run with it. I have run Plagued Crits as well, and the nice thing with Plague Crits is Crippling Reap and Plague Crits will proc off of like the same attack. So if someone's running away from you, you can reap them, and if they're below 50 and you crit, you will end up applying a slow and a disease. So Plague Crits is definitely another option to go with, but just keep in mind with your Great Axe you're not doing a ton of damage. You're using it for mobility from the charge, your reap, and then your gravity well, or we can go over some of the other options, but for the most part those are the 3 that I run. So the damage output isn't huge as far as concerning with that, so I wouldn't go too crazy in worrying about getting some of the damage buff perks, but more so the debuff perks. That's kind of the route that I go for some of these weapons. But that's what I run for my armor, weapons, jewelry. Heart Rune, I do still run Bile Bomb because I think Bile Bomb is an extremely good Heart Rune to have, especially if you're kind of playing mid to back line. I think it's just really good. It's probably my favorite Heart Rune in terms of just overall functionality. But definitely you can run Stone Farm, Dark Ascent. You can run all sorts of different Heart Runes depending on what you want to run, and I do swap mine around, so don't be afraid to swap that around and play around with a few different Heart Runes. Alright, so that's what we got going for gear. Let's take a look at the attributes and then the mastery after that. Taking a look at the attributes here, you can see that I run 117 con, 346 focus. So for the con, part of the reason why I run 117 is because that's just where I'm at. I can't, if I put any more into it, it'll go above 117. So that is the bare minimum for what I have right now because of my gear. You could definitely lower or raise that depending on what your gear has, con or focus. But the nice thing with 117 that I will say is you get to use 33 con foods, which typically are significantly cheaper, or with the summer medley fair going on right now, you can actually get those foods for free. So that's something to think about. It will save you some money in the long run, I would say. And then in general, the 33 con foods, if you watch the market, you can usually buy them pretty cheap depending on the time and how many are up and all of that. But 33 con food. You can also run 110 con. Now, I am a 150 con healer. I know that a lot of people are 200 con, but trust me, 150 is what I love. That's what I run. I don't like 200. I don't feel like I survive any more than I would in 150. Usually, if I get caught out in 150, it's the same way with 200. I'm going to get caught out. I'm in a bad position or something like that. So I have the best luck with 150. Try 200 if you find that survivability is tricky with the 150. Don't be afraid to bump that up to 200, drop your focus a little bit, and kind of go from there. But in general, I always run 150, but again, it just kind of depends on you, what you find for survivability and stuff like that. But I usually don't have a problem with survivability with 150 myself. So again, play around with it, see what works for you. But 150, 200 right in there is like perfect. So that's what we are looking at for our attributes. Next, let's take a look. We'll look really quickly at Life Staff and then Great Axe after that, since it's mainly for Great Axe. I do still want to go over the Life Staff so you can at least see if you haven't seen my previous videos. Okay, so taking a look at Life Staff here. This is my standard Life Staff build. I don't really change from this. This is like my main build that I will run. I do run some other builds. I've done AoE healing, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I have done some AoE healing, Splash of Light builds, haste builds. It just kind of depends on what I'm feeling, but this is my go-to. So this is probably the build. If you've seen some of my previous healer videos, this is the build that I run. It is the exact same, so definitely take a look at that. But we're running Divine Embrace, Sacred Ground, and Beacon. Those are the 3 abilities, and you can definitely tweak some of the passive perks based around what you need, but this is what I like to run. Let's hop into the Great Axe, though, since that is the main focus for today. And this is what I am currently running for my Great Axe. Now, the 2 abilities that I would say as a healer are extremely nice to have are Charge and Reap. Your Charge is obviously your escape tool, so that's what you're going to use to get out of certain situations, or you can be aggressive with it if you want. Sometimes that can be pretty fun, but otherwise it is your escape. The other thing is the Reap. I do run Crippling Reap anytime I am running Life Staff with a Great Axe. And the Reap is really, really nice. You're going to catch a lot of people off guard. If you can survive a backline push, you can catch someone that maybe is trying to run away. Overall, it's a very, very useful ability, and I do highly recommend running that. And then for your third ability, it's really up to you and how you want to run it. I run Gravity Well because I like getting big gravs. I'll throw a big Gravity Well, and then I'll try to Reap in case anyone dodged the Gravity Well. You can try to Reap them back into it, and then I'll use a Charge to quick get out of the fight. So I'll throw in my combo, get out, pump in the heals, and just sit back, wait for more cooldowns, try to watch the back line, stuff like that. Otherwise, I have run Execute. Execute can be pretty fun. Since you don't do a ton of damage with the Great Axe, it is kind of nice to have one ability that you know can actually do decent damage. So Execute is a very interesting one if you want to go a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more fun on the DPS-y side of it, but still be pumping out heals. Execute is a pretty fun option to go with. The other 2 options being Whirlwind and Maelstrom. Whirlwind, I would say if you're going for like the Fortify, maybe you could make that work, but again, with the Fortify changes, I don't think it's overly worth it, but definitely I've seen people run Whirlwind and survive a lot, so you could try it, but I don't think it's the best for this build. If you make it work though, please let me know in the comments, because I'd be very curious to know what you did to really get the most out of it. And then with Maelstrom, you can definitely run Maelstrom. It's not going to do a ton of damage, like I said, but you do get a little bit of a pull. You could get Enfeebling Maelstrom, try to apply weakens and stuff like that. But overall, I do think the Gravity Wells are a little bit nicer. because you're also adding a fortify on top. So if you have a sacred ground with a fortified, you know, gravity well on top of that, that's like what, 20% fortify that you're giving your heavy armors or anyone that's in there. So it can be helpful. I do think it has its perks to have gravity well. My 2/3 abilities here that I go with execute or gravity well. So totally up to you as far as what you want to run. I do recommend though charge for sure. Reap if you're planning on running crippling reap. I think reap is really good. I don't know if reap is worth it without the crippling reap, to be honest, but you can definitely try it and see how it works. But this is what I go with. This is what's been working. And then I do run bloodlust because it is nice to have a little bit faster movement speed, stuff like that. And then you do deal a little bit more damage, so at least stack some damage, so we're doing a little bit more. And especially with execute, if you run bloodlust, then you just get that 15% extra damage when you are executing someone with that ability. So that is what we're looking at for skills with our Great Axe and Life Staff. I've been pretty happy with the build, but again, definitely tweak it if it's not quite right for you. If you feel like you need to change one or two of the abilities around, please tweak it. Let me know in the comments, though, what you tweaked and how it worked for you, because I'm always open to try something different and see what else is working out there. But that is it for the build itself. We'll take a look at a little bit of gameplay. I don't have too much of this build currently. You can definitely stop by a stream, though, and see more of the gameplay because I have been playing it a little bit more recently. But let's take a look at a little bit of gameplay from this build. Alright, that's going to do it for today's video. So thank you very much to everyone who was watching. I do appreciate it. If you like this video, please drop it a like. It does help me out a lot. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It is free. And next week, I do plan on coming out with a new Life Staff video that involves a weapon that I have not comboed with Life Staff before, in a video at least. And it's one that I have been working on. I just crafted a weapon for it, and it's pretty decent. So that is going to be next week's video. So definitely you're going to want to tune in for that. So please subscribe to the channel so you can get notified when that video goes up. But that is going to do it for today's video. So thank you very much again for watching. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.